Industrialization of agriculture. In the early 1900s, more than half of Americans were either farmers or lived in rural communities. Most U.S. farmers were diversified, meaning they produced a variety of crops and animal species together on the same farm, in complementary ways. Farmers were skilled in a wide range of trades and had autonomy over how to manage their crops and animals. Animals were typically raised with access to outdoors. Most of the work on the farm was done by human or animal labor. Although conditions like these still exist, the industrialization of agriculture radically transformed how the vast majority of food is produced in the US and many other parts of the world. Over the brief span of the 20th century, agriculture underwent greater change than it had since it was first adopted some 13,000 years ago. Modern U.S. agriculture has been described as the most efficient in the world, at least in terms of the dollar and cents costs of production. The public health and ecological costs of industrialization, however, are not reflected in the prices of food. Founded in 1866, Nestlé is the largest food and beverage company in the world. Initially, the company sold only infant cereal, but they quickly diversified to include a variety of products including chocolate, coffee, soup, yogurt, water, and frozen foods in their portfolio. The organization employs nearly 250,000 people from 70 different countries around the world. Nestlé operates in almost every part of the world. They have reached an impressive global audience both through their own efforts and through joint ventures with companies like Coca-Cola. Nestlé's success has been driven by a combination of product innovation and business acquisition. It is their motivation for growth and diversity that has allowed Nestlé to become the key player in nutrition that it is today. In 1866, the first condensed milk factory in Europe opened in Cham in Switzerland. The company was called the Anglo-Swiss Condensed Milk Company. The factory was owned by two American men, brothers Charles and George Page. They had to see the growth of condensed milk in the United States and wanted to manufacture milk near to a large quality source. Switzerland produced a large amount of high-quality fresh milk and had been the center of production for many milk-based productions since the early 19th century. The business owners created their milk products in Switzerland, but it was always intended for the English market. They opened a British factory in England in 1873. Henry Nestlé, the company's founder, worked as an assistant to a local pharmacist early in his career. He was trained in science and chemistry. Henry was an innovator by nature, and he experimented with everything from food to cement. In 1867, Henry Nestlé produced a nutritious combination of milk, wheat, and sugar. This cereal was so nutritious that it saved the life of a child. He called it Farine Lassie. The product took off, and he began producing his baby food on a larger scale. He started out by buying the milk he needed to make the farine lassie fresh each morning. By 1869, the method was no longer practical, and he began to purchase his milk supply from a collection center to have it delivered to his factory. Nestlé's businessman acumen, combined with his quality products, resulted in an impressive growth of his business. By 1875, only 8 years after his initial launch, Nestlé's products could be found across the globe in countries like Indonesia, Argentina, Egypt, and even the United States. And Henry Nestlé based it upon his family's coat of arms. Henry had immigrated to Switzerland from Germany. The first logo was a play on his family name, Nestlé, which means nest in German language. The first logo included his familial origins by incorporating a nest and adding young birds being fed to link the logo to his baby food products. The logo has been reimagined and simplified over the years, but it has been retained the same basic structure that Henry Nestlé developed in 1868. Throughout the last decades of the 19th century, the two Swiss companies, Nestlé and Anglo-Swiss Condensed Milk Company, had become incredibly competitive. In 1905, Nestlé merged with Anglo-Swiss Condensed Milk Company. Transformation into a global player. After the fall of Berlin Wall in 1989, a huge amount of Europe once again became an accessible market. Poland, Hungary, and the Czech Republic would soon be known as emerging European markets. China became more accessible during this period as well. For a company with international ambitions like Nestlé, this was the ideal trade situation. With new diverse markets to serve, Nestlé was presented with a unique opportunity to become an even more diverse organization. The first major acquisition during this period was in 2001 when Nestlé acquired and merged with the Ralston Purina Company, a new company. In comparison, Purina created products like Friskies, which was a widely popular brand for pet food in the United States. After the merger, a new pet food company called Nestlé Purina Pet Care Company was established. Nestlé picked up the pace in 2002 when they took 1 to 2 more of North America's most successful companies. This time the theme was frozen products, and Nestlé picked up Derriere's ice cream in July. The next month, Nestlé brought Chef America Inc., a frozen food manufacturer, for a cool $2.6 billion. The plan to make on the freezer aisle continued in 2003 when Nestlé acquired Mövenpick Ice Cream, a luxury Swiss ice cream company. The decade came to a head in a spectacular fashion when Nestlé took over both Jenny Craig and Uncle Toby's in 2006. Towards the end of the decade, Nestlé made one of its biggest ever acquisitions when it purchased Gerber. This move was a return to Nestlé's historic roots, as Gerber continues to be one of the key baby food manufacturers in the United States and Canada. Nestlé purchased the business for $5.5 billion in 2007. Nestlé has come a long way from its 19th century Swiss-German origins and nutrition's Gruel to become one of the biggest production conglomerates in the world. Nestlé has carried them for their spirit of innovation and nutrition from the 19th century into the 21st century. Today, Nestlé owns more than 2,000 brands that are sold in more than 197 countries around the world. They have a clear objective to be the leader in health and wellness. The company has not limited itself to nutrition, but moved into the beauty health categories in order to create a truly diverse company. Science and technology represent another major driver, changing the way that food is grown, processed, preserved, and transported. The industrial age brought a transition from manual labor and draft animal-based economies to machines.